Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Back.
Sleeping on your beat, that shit there could be bad for you. Nigga, catch you slipping, that shit could get mad. Creatures on the creep lurking, call it the last supper. 100 on the Mac 90, call that bitch Mac Muffin.
Slum 1200 GGI Mob shit, and I'm back. So we gonna be going to Georgia with it. We gonna be talking about Malachi York, Dr. Malachi York. He had 500 acres of land in Georgia that he actually converted into something that would resemble the Egyptian pyramids and obelisks and hieroglyphics and a lot of different things that would be over there in Egypt. He like basically imitated the Egyptian architectural work and made it his own.
Where he transformed nearly 500 acres of farmland into something resembling ancient Egypt. The Nuwaubians allowed Fox 5 to tour the property in 1999. In 2002, the FBI raided the compound. York was arrested and charged with more than 100 counts of sexually molesting dozens of children, some as young as 4 years old. Today, he is still serving his 135-year sentence in a Colorado prison. Although the Nuwaubian Nation of Moors has a brief history here in Georgia, members claim their teachings date back several millennia. The group claims to be ancestors of Egyptians who migrated to this continent and became known as Native Americans. York's followers believe he's from another planet.
We're from Orion. Dr. York is from Risk. He's from Orion. What's the deal? It's nothing strange. It's just new to the public.
That last interview was shot back in 1999. In 2004, the Putnam County compound was sold under government forfeiture and demolished a year later.
The feds will raid his compound and will raid the nation and accuse him of molesting over 100 children, which I feel like probably was smoke and mirrors, because dude had then claimed his nationality, was showing a lot of other people the way, and had 500 acres of land. So it's like he basically was showing everybody how to get their sovereignty back and how to claim their 40 acres in the mule. So that's what I feel he was really framed for and railroaded for because of that, because he was teaching people of color the truth. You feel what I'm saying? So whenever that go to happening, you know, the feds ain't too far behind. They're gonna go to building a case in some type of way. They're gonna take your little empire down.
We've seen authorities going in and out of those two pyramids as well. Some of the Nuwaubian Nation remain on the grounds. Authorities, SWAT teams and officers are sitting next to them as they sit on the ground over here near the shade. They have sat there for the whole hour and a half that we have been on scene, being watched by those FBI agents you see at the top of your screen. Authorities have also, in the last half hour or so, lined this compound with squad cars. Local authorities are also on the scene. As we pan out here, every few feet, there is what appears to us to be Putnam County Sheriff's officers with squad cars just lining the area. Highway 142 is shut down. They have brought in lights. The authority, the FBI, has to flood this compound with lights, as it appears they're going to be serving these warrants for quite some time.
I remember walking this morning. I was walking vigorously. I remember seeing the sun shining on the pyramid and the statues, and it's just so beautiful. It's a privilege to be there every day and to wake up in the morning hearing the Om chant and having such just a peaceful existence, because I was a city dweller forever before I came, and to live somewhere just so peaceful and so tranquil. Your mornings just started off easy.
That day was supposed to be an exciting day to me. The reason why is because on the land, my occupation was an artist. You know, I helped decorate a lot of the monuments, painted them, did a lot of exterior sculpturing of ancient Egypt and different cultures. And we had a very large project you know, that we were working on, which was Edfu Museum. It's a resurrection of an ancient temple, you know, in ancient Egypt.
We were standing, getting some air, talking. We were talking about what we'd eaten that day, and you know how we had eaten the right thing, we eaten the right time, we were feeling good, and we looked down the driveway, and Dr. York had come in for the day to do work prior to this, and he had gone out to get a bite to eat. So he was gone, but we heard cars, so we were thinking he's back, but it was too fast for him to be back.
The first thing I heard was helicopters. That's the very first thing I heard, you know. I thought nothing of it because, you know, a lot of time on the land, you have helicopters that swarm and get real low, you know, just to try to intimidate us because they got a problem with us. You know, you kind of get used to it. So when I heard this helicopter, I'm like, God, it's not a big deal. It's just helicopters, you know. Heard it again, but something changed. My cousins and them was running, screaming towards the house.
We looked and it was like a strange vehicle coming down the driveway, usually where he would enter and exit from his carport. And it was like a weird, looked like maybe an electric van or some utility, something. We were like, what's going on? And we saw someone get out the vehicle with guns like this, and they were walking across the property, and there were most of the brothers were out at work at the time, but there were some brothers who were there working on, at the time we were working on Edfu. One of the brothers walked up and they had a gun pointed at him.
As we start to walk around that corner, you saw them all start putting their hands up in the air. I'm like, why is their hands up in the air? So I could see further down, you know, because now my attention is away from where I was working and it's more towards the front of the actual train station. And I saw a guy way down. I remember his face, what he was wearing. He had a white shirt on, beige pants. He had a piece of paper in his hand and he had his gun pointing towards these brothers.
We came, I came inside and I looked at everybody and I said, everybody calm down, we're under siege. I'm a pretty jovial person, so people are like, oh, what are you talking about, Robbie, you know, blah, blah. And it's like, no, really, they're men with guns and we are under siege. Please, everyone stay calm.
You guys jump out, don't move, freeze. Freeze, don't move, FBI. I was like, whoa. Put my hands up, and all I had in my hand was a paintbrush. You know, literally, one paintbrush in my hands.
I was still upstairs, so people run to the windows and they're just like, oh my gosh. I mean, men are in straight tactical uniform. I mean, gas mask, bulletproof, everything, shields, guns. I mean, they are going to war. I mean, you would think that we were in another country. I mean, they came down on ropes from helicopters. I mean, most of the men weren't there because they had jobs.
I called the office and there was no one there at the time. While we were on the phone, then there was a raid on the land, and I didn't know what was happening because she said, emergency, I have to go. And she quickly hung up the phone. I hadn't yet known what had happened that day, but people had started calling me because also at Dr. Malachi York's house in Athens, Georgia, it was being raided at the same time.
The no-knock warrant issued by the federal had the name Dwight D. York as the resident of 404 Shadydale Road at the Nuwaubian property. The question is raised, if Malachi York, who the courts refer to as Dwight, is a resident, then why was the feds also raiding his living residence since 1998 at 155 Mansfield Court in Athens, Georgia, an hour and a half away?
So I looked out there and I seen all these men in black, police officers in black, and they were just running, trying to, circle the house, right? So I said, all right. I said, they're gonna bust in, to myself. So when I went to the front door, right, I opened it, and they were like getting ready to bust the door down. And when they saw me, they all stopped and looked, as surprised because they didn't get a chance to break the door down. So they came in, they just bum rushed me and threw me on the ground, handcuffed me and everything, you know what I mean? So, I told them, I said, look, I say, it's a woman upstairs, she got 2 kids, don't don't hurt him. That's all was upstairs. Who's upstairs? I said, it's a woman and 2 kids. So they went upstairs, and during that time, the sister, she heard the commotions, and she took her babies, and she hid in a closet. And when they came upstairs, they broke open the door, and they pointed the guns at her little 2-year-old child. And they pointed a gun at him, and made her get out.
A sister called me, and she had said that she saw Dr. York get arrested, and she wanted to know, was that true? She said because they had banged out all the windows to the car, and everyone was on the ground, and she wanted, to confirm that was him. She said, I see a black Navigator, and I don't know if that's him or not, but it looks like him.
I have witnesses to it. It began in the Baldwin County Mall, shopping mall in open daylight, with them knocking out the windows of a car with the butts of their guns, dragging 3 females as well as myself out on the floor into the glass in the streets. You follow? Yeah, they attempted to arrest us. Nothing on that arrest warrant, to my knowledge, ever referred to me as a dangerous person, never referred to me as an armed person or armed and extremely dangerous, which would have caused for such an overuse of force in the presence of a Sheriff Massey from Baldwin County who stood right there and watched all this abuse. I couldn't see because I was hit so fast. And hit to the ground so fast, and was kept in the guns poked at me from every direction. I wasn't allowed to look up, don't look up, don't look up, don't look up. But I did notice as I was being dragged out the car, I looked to my right, I did see Sheriff Massey from Baldwin County standing there.
2 guys come, they frisk me, take anything out of my pocket, and they snatch me up, pick me up off the ground, and took me to the other side towards where the barn was. You know what I'm saying? And just dropped me on the ground. And I could feel a gun to the back of my head. Felt like a shotgun or something very, that could kill me, basically. You know what I'm saying? And they strapped me. I was like, what's going on? Shut up. Don't effing say nothing.
We were all afraid for our life. Literally, I had resolved in my mind, wow, I'm going to die today. Today, I'm going to die.
Mr. York, are you now under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or narcotics? You understand you are charged with 40 counts of aggravated child molestation, that you could receive a maximum sentence of 30 years in confinement for each count, that you are charged with 34 counts of child molestation, that you could receive a maximum sentence of 20 years in confinement for each count, that you are charged with 1 count of sexual exploitation of children, and you could receive a maximum sentence of 20 years in confinement, and you are charged with 2 counts of influencing witnesses, and you could receive a maximum sentence of 10 years in confinement for each count, and that you could receive a minimum sentence overall of 10 years on probation. I'm telling you the most and the least. Do you understand that?
Actually, Your Honor, it would be 10 years for aggravated child molestation, and then it's 10 years in confinement.
But minimum then would be 10 years. Do you understand that? You understand you have a right to an attorney, and in fact, your lawyer, Mr. Aurora, is here with you and representing you. Is that correct? I'm going to inform you of certain other rights that you have, Mr. York, and inform you of the fact that if you plead guilty, you give up these rights. You have a right to trial by jury. You're presumed to be innocent. You have a right to confront any witnesses the state presents against you. You have a right to subpoena any witnesses you want to appear and testify for you. You have a right to testify and offer other evidence if you want to. You have a right to the assistance of an attorney during a trial. You have a right not to incriminate yourself. You have a right to plead not guilty or remain silent, not in any plea, and in either case automatically obtain a jury trial. You understand these rights, and understand if you plead guilty, you give up these rights. You heard the recommendation the state made. Is that the recommendation you understood the state would make? Did you, in fact, do what the district attorney, Mr. Bright, told me you did? How do you plead, guilty or not guilty, as to all the indictments that were cited by the district attorney? Did anybody force you or threaten you in any way to cause you to enter this guilty plea? Did anyone promise you anything to cause you to enter this guilty plea? Are you satisfied with the services of your attorneys, not only Mr. Aurora, but your other attorneys? Were you able to hear and understand my statements and questions to you? He's under oath. Let him enter his plea.
Your Honor, we've drawn up this withdrawal of not guilty plea and entered guilty plea, and if it comes down to the defendant both trial case, withdraws his plea not guilty in this case, waives his constitutional rights, pleads guilty as charged with offenses of. I've already enumerated those on the record. They're the same ones I've enumerated on before, Your Honor. I signed on behalf of the state. After signed on behalf of the state.
Clear? Malachi York, I find you plead guilty was freely, voluntarily, and knowing manner. There was a factual basis for your plea. I accept your plea. Guilty was freely, voluntarily, and knowing manner. There was a factual basis for your plea. I accept your plea.
Y'all get in the comment section, hit that like button, make sure them notifications turned on, hit that subscribe button, and stay plugged. Slum 1200 GGI mob shit.
Get rich, I'ma die trying to make it to the top. Shit, and anybody in the way, I'm putting them in the box. Yeah, it's gotta get it, I'ma stack it till it rocks. Yeah, it's gotta get it, I'ma stack it till I drop. Shit, I with him still, it called the winter selling rocks. Now I pull up on a nigga with the 30, let it pop. Hit him with the bitch until the motherfucker stop. Then it's right back on the block, screaming death to all my ops.